Hello, Dr. Elmer, Advanced Neurospinal Solutions, and we're still on cranial nerve 10. We could just go on and on with this because cranial nerve 10 has its tentacles into just about everything that goes on within your body from an automated point of view, for making sure that you have the proper nutrition and fuel supply and all that in its appropriate fashion. So vital that this system work, and it's on a reflexogenic from a reflexogenic point of view. Now, today we're looking at anxiety. Anxiety is interesting because we've talked about it in the past. We've talked about it as being definitely a problem because of differences in frequency within the brain, within the two hemispheres. So if we look at the brain, here, we have two hemispheres, the right and the left. And if one side is operating at a much higher frequency, kind of like a dimmer switch, if it's turned way up and the other side is turned way down, the differences are stunning in that it makes it difficult for them to work together. The corpus callosum connects the two hemispheres together, but it's difficult if one side is running very low. It also has a radical impact on the automated system. The frontal lobes drive what's called the reticular system. That reticular system inhibits the sympathetic nervous system drive and drives up the parasympathetic nervous system, particularly the ventral vagus. The hemispheres being we literally call it hemisphericity in functional neurology. Like let's say the left side is running very low, it's running very weak, makes it difficult not only for the conscious side of the brain, the higher side of the brain, to operate with each other, but it also has a radical impact on the reflexive part. But let's assume just the reflexogenic part, which is in the brainstem, and this is a larger version of that, of what we just looked at, of the brainstem itself. The midbrain, the pons, the medulla, and then the spinal cord is below. We call that the car in neuroscience. In neuroscience, the car has everything that we need in order to run the entire system, irrespective of the driver. And you've heard the term brain dead. Brain dead is where the car is working, but the driver is dead. And there's three layers to that: the basal ganglia, which is the reflexes; the limbic brain, which is the emotional side of the brain, including the hormonal system that drives that emotional and metabolic system; and then the neocortex, which is the upper part of the brain, which makes you more of who you are and allows you to walk and talk and act like a human. So the part of the system we're discussing is the ventral vagus system, which is run through the nucleus ambiguous within the brainstem, and it is the part that makes things appropriate. So imagine if we're running a fight or flight system. Fight or flight is the sympathetic nervous system drive, which is moderated through the spinal cord, the midbrain, and the spinal cord within the thoracic and upper lumbar spine. That thing gives you that fight or flight, which is not very well controlled. It's about I gotta run, I gotta get out of here, and it's like lighting a match to gasoline. It's not a very focused approach. It's not a very thoughtful approach. There's no thinking to it. This thing is running you. Whereas the ventral vagus, when it runs together with the sympathetic nervous system drive, it calms the system. It doesn't douse it completely, because like let's say you're in a competitive environment, or you don't want to harm people as you're doing what you're doing, and that you're trying to get out of a burning building and you're trying to help people on your way out, and that you want control of that system. You want that fight or flight benefit to happen, but you don't want it out of control, like lighting a match to gasoline. So the ventral vagus is the important part for the reflexive side. The problem is if it gets out of control, if that ventral vagus is out of control, I mean the sympathetic nervous system drive is out of control, it can often be too much for the brain to handle. The brain can't overcome the difference because of the difference of frequency within the brain already. And so that's where we work very heavily to change the frequency within the brain and to change the factors that led to that. But more importantly, we're working with that ventral vagus to boost it up, to calm that reflexive, out of control anxiety. So that's the kind of things that we do. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. We love the questions, and that, I'm amazed at how many put in some very, very thoughtful questions. Excellent. So this is Dr. Elmer, Advanced Neurospinal Solutions, and we're here when you're ready to take your life back. Thank you.